I'd love to bring up both Kathleen Kat Nyberg, photographer and multimedia producer, and Kelly Frazier, the social media manager from the McMenamins Pub and Breweries team. Hey guys.
Hello.
Hello. Nice to see you.
You as well. Thanks so much for having us.
Thank you guys for joining, and I will let you take it away.
I'm Kat Nyberg. I'm a multimedia producer for McMenamins, and really excited to be here to share this, what turned into be an unexpected bright spot in COVID, which is our Dance on Air project. And Kelly Frazier is here with me as well. And for those of you who are not familiar with McMenamins, it's a really unique company that is in Portland, Oregon. It was started by Mike and Brian McMenamin, two brothers. And what started out to be just one pub, let's see here, has grown to be 54 locations. It's now run not only just by Mike and Brian, but their kids have stepped into leadership roles. So the picture on the right, you can see the second generation has joined the leadership in the company. And this is kind of my dream job, I have to say, because everything I had done in my career previously are things that I am able to do for McMenamin. So it's kind of all in one. So they now have 24 breweries, a winery, 2 distilleries, a coffee roaster. They're known for converting these amazing historic buildings into hotels and with soaking pools and music venues. So it's really an incredible space. Our offices are at Edgefield, which is in Troutdale, Oregon. And a lot of people refer to it as an adult Disneyland because you can walk between different pubs on the property, carrying your cocktail, and it's just an incredible space. So the map on the right shows you the locations are as far south as Roseburg and as far north as Mill Creek. One of the things about McMenamins is music is a core value for this company. Their first pub is the Barley Mill in Southeast Portland, and it's a tribute to Jerry Garcia, essentially. I've never seen anything else like it. So any day that McMenamins is open, the music does not stop. So they have everything from curated record collections. The photo on the left is Dan McMenamin, which is the second generation. He curates the record collections for different small bars on the property. There's 3 larger venues. So the top left is Edgefield, which has a 5,000 capacity. And the bottom right is Spanish Ballroom, one of the newer music venues up in Tacoma. And then there's Crystal Ballroom in Portland, which is 1,200 capacity. So the music never stops. So with COVID lockdown, there was a huge void and a huge point of tension. I think Kelly referred to it as a point of tension in the company that there was no music. So I'm gonna back out of that for just a second and give a little background just to demonstrate how essential having our archive was when COVID happened. So when I started in 2014, the company hadn't really done anything with video, and my background is multimedia video storytelling. So when I came in, I inherited a couple of hard drives. So there was basically 25 years of content just on a couple scattered hard drives in the company, big box of photos. And I had been using PhotoShelter for years. So that was the very first thing I did was establish that archive and start building it and keywording, because I knew that that would allow so much more time for me to actually do what I love, which is the storytelling part, rather than digging for photos every time somebody needed something. So that's just been a game changer for us. And Kelly, flash forward to 2018, we hired our first social media manager, which is Kelly Frazier. And Kelly, go ahead and take it away.
Yeah. Hi. So I started almost 4 years ago at McMinimans, and this was a newly created position for the company. So I was able to bring in a lot of my own experience and ideas. Like Kat was showing, we're definitely not short for content at McMinimans. I would say we're the two content creators for the company. And we get to create content that aligns with our core values and our business goals, whether that's brand awareness on social, selling tickets to concerts, brew fests, or other events that we have, the storytelling piece, historical education. We also have an e-commerce site that we sell a lot to. So we highlight kind of all different aspects of the company. We're able to collaborate with the marketing department, which is a smaller team of about 14, and with the wider McMinimans team to gather and produce all of this content. Collaboration for us really means a lot of communication and organization through all these different departments. We have a lot of employees, a lot of locations, so we have a lot of stories to tell. And PhotoShelter really helps us keep this all organized and succinct so that we can do that quickly. We're both really big advocates for video production, and we've only really skimmed the surface, but we've been able to pitch a lot of fun ideas and make some things happen. So St. Patrick's Day is actually a really big holiday for McMinimans. It's actually so big that we celebrate the halfway point to St. Patrick's Day in anticipation of the day. But every location that we have is doing something. Usually we have big music, we have food and drink specials, we have games, bagpipers come to all the hotel locations and walk the properties. And so it's all just a really fun event. And this is the day that we actually had to close all of our doors to all of our locations. So it really hit us hard being on that day in March 2020. And when we realized that the company wasn't going to be opening anytime soon, we had to lay off our McMinimans had to lay off the majority of their employees. And PhotoShelter was really essential at this time. Because we had years and years of content ready to be reused and repurposed on social. Once we were able to bring back employees, the company started to find more unique ways to entertain and engage our audience. This is kind of our team working through Zoom. This is the marketing team. We started using social listening tools to find out what people were talking about at home. And a big campaign for us was this hashtag McMinimans at home, which really started from the fans. And then we kind of wanted to encourage and push. And so that was really exciting to see. We started hosting cocktail live streams and pushing to our e-commerce site so that people could purchase these spirits and different products to make cocktails at home. And we started to do all of this really unique and fun stuff on our main channels, but our music venues were still sitting dormant and empty. So this is kind of when we started to really find the need of what are we going to do with the music, because we have no idea when we're going to be able to start booking shows. They were getting canceled left and right, and really when we could start selling tickets again. So they were kind of sitting empty.
So in the heart of Portland is the Crystal Ballroom, which is near and dear to many people's hearts. It's 107 years old this year, and McMinimans took it over and restored it in 1997. It holds about 1,200 people, and just had some incredible acts there over the years. One of the things that Mike McMiniman will say he loves about it is that the Grateful Dead performed here in '68, and their album Anthem of the Sun was recorded from a live show there. So that is one thing that gives it a little bit of magic for him. So with the Crystal Ballroom sitting empty, the question came to us, like, what could we do just to keep the music going? And I guess before I go into that, Dance on Air, that name has been with the ballroom because of its famous floating floor. Our historian thinks this is the only remaining floating floor of this design in the United States. And it has a really interesting ball bearing design. You can see in that center photo. For ballroom dancing, there's a system in place where they could ratchet the tension on the floor based on how much bounce was required for whatever dance was being done. So that's kind of an interesting background to Dance on Air. When we were trying to figure out what we could do for bringing music back, it really, well, we looked up from Burnside and realized we have a balcony that we have never done anything with. At that time, people all over the world were giving a shout out to nurses on their balconies at 7 o'clock. And we just thought, why don't we try that? Why don't we do music in fresh air out on our balcony and give a shout out to nurses? And I think we did an overnight stay or something, a gift certificate to someone could nominate a nurse on that first show. So that was our first attempt to start this series. The first show that we did, we worked with our booker, Jen Carrizo, who's amazing. And she brought in Jenny Don't and the Spurs, a Portland band. Two of the band members performed on the balcony. And we had no idea it would actually turn into something. It was just an experiment. But that very first show, we had such positive feedback. She pulled in some really generous tips that night, and we realized this could be a way to support artists while things are closed down. And that's like our socially distanced photo from that very first show on the floating floor. Kelly, do you want to talk a little bit about feedback?
Yeah, so we received so much positivity from viewers and from artists. It became quite an emotional project with people expressing their gratitude for just live music. And you can see here some of the comments, one of which is saying, watching live from Tokyo. So even though it felt like such like a intimate experience between just a couple people in this huge empty ballroom or on the side of the building, actually, people were watching from all over, and it really started to make the connection feel much larger.
I think so many of our shows started with the artist saying, you know, this is one of the first times I've been out of my house, or, you know, just talking about how hard it had been to not be playing any shows or performing. So it felt like a really powerful connection tool, not just, you know, just for everyone involved. So in terms of our approach, we had zero budget with this. And you would think with the crystal ballroom that we would have had all this equipment at our disposal, but we did not. So we just used what we had, and we realized, I think one of my takeaways from this experience was that we didn't have to be perfectionists about this, because it was really about the moment. It was raw, and it was about the connection that was able to happen through this technology. So the perfectionist side of me did record these sets onto cameras so that I could edit an archival version for later. But other than that, Kelly and I recorded to Instagram, she recorded to Facebook just from our phones. Did you want to say anything else about that, Kelly?
No, I just think this is a slide showing kind of where the content went. We would start off by live streaming and filming for later use, and the content would go back to the artists. We would then push out content on our newsletters and e-blasts. It would go back on social, on our web and on our website. We would send it out to media contacts, and people started really getting involved. And then also archival for later use. And we were able to do this all really quickly and turn it around really quickly because of the organization that PhotoShelter provides. And it was easy to collaborate with all these different streams.
Even our graphic designers, I think we were included in several articles just because we had assets that were readily available. So 24 shows later, like it really did continue for this entire duration of lockdown. And our last live stream is next week. So we're wrapping it up. Venues are opening, which is really exciting and just a relief to know that we're getting a little bit back to normal. Did you want to say anything about this part, Kelly?
No, it's just exciting to have like live music and the audience back in the ballroom. It definitely creates such a bigger ambiance. It's been so, I'm so grateful that we've been able to do something like this and really see what people think. And even if they were a fan of the artist, but hadn't been to the ballroom, or they were a fan of the ballroom but didn't know the artist, people tuned in anyways, just because it was kind of the only thing that was happening at the time, and it was really special.
Definitely.
Yeah.
It was one other thing that was really special was just being able to be a conduit for music that was written during lockdown and during the protests. A lot of artists brought in music that hadn't been performed before. So it was really just amazing to share in that with them. And that's our wrap up here.
This was great. Thank you, Kat and Kelly, so much. Two things that were shared. One, just a lot of love for the refurbishing of old buildings. That's from the Slack channel. And the tots are phenomenal at McMenamins, they said. So I love any form of fried potato. Tater tots are up on my probably top 3. So got a good shout out for the tots. But thank you guys so much. We definitely will ask you back after Raven comes up for a little bit of Q&A, but thank you guys so much for sharing.
Thanks so much for having us.
Yes, thanks. We'll see you guys in a little bit.
All right.
Great. Raven, Kira Ellis, hello.
Hello, how are you?
I'm doing well. So glad to have you speaking today on Go Squeeze and all the awesome things that you guys are doing.
Yes, thank you so much for having me, and really shout out to the whole PhotoShelter team behind the scenes. You guys are amazing. So it really is an honor to be here. So thank you to you, and shout out to Rachel and Yoav. I'm so excited to be here.
Awesome. Well, I will pass it over to you to take it away on some of the work that you guys have been doing.
Hello, everybody, and thank you for joining. I'm going to take you through a little deck about creative collaboration projects in a virtual world at Go Squeeze. So first things first, hi, I'm Raven. I am from New Jersey originally. Right now I live in Brooklyn in Prospect Leverett Garden. I'm a wife and a mom. And fun fact, I'm a retired college athlete. I used to play soccer at Kutztown University. So that's a little bit about me personally and professionally. The reason that I'm here is that I am the in-house creative lead at Go Squeeze. So here's a little collage that gives you a sense of Go Squeeze and I. This is my Apple avatar. It's in my email signature. This is my son when he was trying his first Go Squeeze back in 2017. And this is me having a hairnet and goggle moment while we're printing film at a supplier in Wisconsin. And here's a shot of some of our products that I manage on a day-to-day basis. So what is Go Squeeze? Some of you may be very familiar. Some of you may think I'm talking about Go-Gurt, and some of you may just have no idea what's going on. So I would love to know if you are familiar with Go Squeeze. Go ahead and pop into the live chat on Slack. And if you're not there already, go ahead and scan the QR code. And let me know if you're familiar with Go Squeeze. Maybe throw some emojis in there. And if you're not familiar, feel free to ask any questions, or let me know that you want to share emojis anyway with smiley faces and all that. And you know, if you get lucky, maybe I'll pick your comment or your emoji to win a giveaway at the end. So hint, hint. All right, so some quick Go facts. Go Squeeze is 13 years old. We were founded in 2008. We have over 150 SKUs, so we have a ton of variety in market. We have, I think, over 35 flavors. It may be even more, but there's a lot going on across 6 unique sublines, all of them super fun, super playful, And our demographic is really 2 to 12, toddlers to tweens. If you're in anywhere from preschool to middle school, we're with you. So let's get into some types of collaboration and ways we engage at GoGo Squeeze. So we have some that I'm going to talk about today. There are many more, but I want to focus on these. So we have experiential and partnerships, social and digital media, and packaging and innovation. So experiential and partnerships. We partner with Disney, US Soccer, National Park Foundation. We've even partnered with Kids Bop, which is every parent's favorite type of music to listen to. I know from experience. We also are on all the social and digital platforms, hanging out with everybody, including TikTok, because we are cool. We have this excellent Giphy platform where we have over almost 190 individual GIFs. So anywhere you're using GIFs, Instagram, like Reels, Stories, any chat program, Slack, your Teams, your even iMessage, you can plug in and use our GIFs, which is super fun, helps us customize all our content on social to use our very own GIFs. And we sneaky tag all the common phrases in the background so it shows up in your search for like things like fun and happy and fruit and snacks and stuff like that. So those are ways we collaborate with our consumers externally. But let's get into what's really the meat and potatoes of today's presentation is internal collaboration and projects that happened virtually in 2020. So for me and my team, that's packaging and innovation during a pandemic. So a long time ago, at the beginning of 2020, we decided at GoGo Squeeze to launch a brand new product. We're typically known for applesauce. We do have yogurt, we do have a smoothie, but we really wanted to do something we'd never done before. A plant-based pudding in a pouch, which would be a first to market item. Yay. So this is how it went. Obviously, we had the idea and then it was like super smooth, pure creative genius the whole time. And then we launched and we're in market like really early and everything was fine. Not even close. This is how it went really in reality. We kicked off our project in March, which was obviously the same time that the lockdown started happening. We had to figure out new formulations, new recipes, totally new innovations. We were working with partners in Italy, France, the United States, Michigan, Idaho, New York City. We had changes in project management, brand positioning, recipes, packaging, naming, you name it. We were dealing with it virtually. So how did we ever get a product on shelves? So this is how we got through the spring and summer of 2020. First, we identified agency partners. So the first thing we did was once we had the creative brief, we briefed agency partners to help us get through early design work, iterations on what is the brand gonna look like and how are we gonna package this thing. Next, I established a marketing bestie. So the project manager and I basically turned into people that talked every 5 minutes. And this meant any channel that was available, whatever we needed to do to sort of emulate that relationship that we would have in the office where we're stopping by each other's desk or can just have meetings at any given time. If there's something urgent, they're right there, you can wave them down. Instead, it went to messaging, old-fashioned phone calls, voice notes, texting, chatting, meetings, all the things. But having a marketing bestie was super, super important to make sure that we were aligned on all of our deliverables, all of our timelines, and all the creative work that needed to be done. Which leads me to how many deliveries we all were receiving. So when you're working in packaging for food, there's samples of everything, and samples being delivered to everyone's house that's involved in the project, involved in getting things moving. So I would be receiving print samples, actual product samples to taste, random puddings throughout the process, boxes and boxes of samples, tons of print work. And if it's not already clear, while working from home, I had a desk in my bedroom and I had all the printed samples and boxes of things in my closet, in my living room. It was all happening. But that was part of the collaboration process, right? Next up is making my decks more interesting. So I know everyone was dealing with Zoom fatigue. I know everyone was so tired of looking at a screen and looking at decks, and it just seemed like we lived at work or we worked from home. Nobody knew. Everything was just so much. So I tried to make everything more visual, more interesting, and more easy to understand visually. So this meant making mood boards, being more of a storyteller, infusing the decks with just more things of interest, things to look at, to get the message across, to help people understand the vision, and so that when these decks get passed along cross-functionally to all sorts of different people, the message and the vision and the creativity still comes across. And lastly, breaking down the silos. So I don't know about where you guys work, but there would be a lot of organic bump-ins with people at all levels in our office when we were in person, making a coffee in the kitchen, having lunch, walking through the hallways. You would be able to bump into people all the way from the top to the bottom that would be able to have a conversation with you, and you could get, some insights into timing or decisions or, plant seeds. But that's not really happening virtually if you don't have one-on-one meetings with these people. So breaking down the silos of different groups of people and just being a bit more inspired to directly message someone, ping them, send them a note, send them an email, not wait for a meeting to be set up, but really proactively going after those conversations. So what are the key learnings? And I know I just said a lot, so if there's anything you have questions on or anything to add, again, pop into the live chat. You can scan that to go there and let me know what you're feeling about the 5 things that we just got through. But here are sort of my key learnings on this type of virtual collaboration. Ideas have to make sense to those in the decision-making positions. So you have to make sure that not only are your decks that you're presenting visual, but very clear, and that you're selling what you want to sell. Number 2, competitive analysis and research really can help prove any creative theory or disprove it. So if you are not sure about a direction that you want to go in with your product, whether it be the colors, the fonts, the logos, the layout, throw it into a little test, get some info, do a little competitive analysis, some research, and include that in your decks to prove or disprove anything that you're trying to do. Number 3, the boom in e-commerce, everyone's shopping online, makes digital focus groups just as important as in-person focus groups. So again, with packaging, with physical product, typically you would be testing people in real life. They can hold it, they can taste it, they can interact with it. All of a sudden, when things go digital, you'd think, well, that's not going to have the same impact, but people are shopping so much online too. So it's still relevant information, and it's quick and easy, and you can set it up yourself. Half the time you can just do it in your Instagram stories and do a poll or get insights right away from your audience that's plugged in. So there's value in that digital focus group, leveraging it for your needs. And number 4, there should be a whole story to your brand. Go beyond good design and collaborate with people cross-functionally that typically wouldn't be pulled in until the end. Pull in your partnerships person, pull in your social person when you're iterating design and thinking about creative, because if you can have this fully baked brand rather than just some good design, it will just take that brand once it launches and make it so much bigger and have such a soul to it. So also with collaboration, we see at the bottom some footnotes. There's no bad ideas in this process of collaborating and getting through creative work. Be open to absorbing feedback, try to fight your ego, test things if you're not sure, if there's a disagreement, but don't say no to people's ideas. Everything could be tested, right? Get a little weird, stretch outside of your comfort zone. Don't be afraid of failure. So if you never fail throughout a process, I would call that probably the failure. You need to push it a little further in your collaboration. Find some ideas that fail, because then you have data to work with. You can figure out what went wrong, so what can we do right? And of course, brush yourself off. Collaboration requires resiliency. It's going to be a process. There's a lot of people involved. It's a group project. So you have to be resilient, especially when you're in the creative seat and you are taking in a lot of feedback. Just understand that the project is the priority and collaborating is the goal, and not someone being right, someone being wrong. and someone getting to be the winner. It's all about the team effort. So stay resilient, stay focused, and be positive through the process. So let's get back to the pudding. Okay, so let's talk about the design journey a little bit with this pudding product. So this is a quick example of some designs that occurred in 2020 very early on when we were trying to figure out what was the brand, what was it going to look like, was it going to be very go-go squeeze-ish, was it going to be something totally different, were we going to focus on the flavors and the decadence, were we going to go to a very plant-based natural space? We didn't know. We were still figuring it out. So there was a lot of iterations, and this is probably 25% of what was explored design-wise. But at the end of the day, this is where we ended up. This was our new almond blend pudding that just launched. This is our 20-count club pack with chocolate and vanilla. And so it came a long way. A lot of people were involved: recipes, formulation, regulatory, legal, marketing. So many people were involved. It's really remarkable. And we're so happy with where we ended up. So we have our club pack that's a 20-count variety. We're coming out with more bigger packs soon. And then these are what you will find nationwide in retail. These are our 4-count packs. So we have 4 flavors: vanilla, cocoa hazelnut, banana, and chocolate. And so we have super fun designs, super playful, really great for the kids. And of course, with all the health benefits that a healthier plant-based pudding brings to the table. And so if I have any of my Go-Go Squeeze family on the call, anyone's listening, thank you to everyone who is involved. I appreciate you guys so much. This wouldn't have happened without all of us. So shout out to you. And so if you are excited to try this pudding, go ahead, scan, let me know which flavor you think you're most excited to try: chocolate, vanilla, cocoa hazelnut, or banana. And I'm going to pick someone to send all 4 flavors to so you can try it. So let me know in the live chat. Go ahead and scan if you're not already there. And I'm excited to see what you guys think. I've tried almost all the flavors. They're all delicious. You can't go wrong. And so now I'll show you a couple bonus projects, things that we collaborated on throughout 2020 on top of that major pudding project. So this is our new morning smoothies. This was a current product in market that we decided to rebrand to bring it into our portfolio a bit closer and make it more of a cohesive thing. So this is a yogurt-based smoothie that has oats and fruit, and it's really yummy, great breakfast treat for your kid, on the go, all that good stuff. And this is how it sort of lines up with our portfolio. You can see we have the cohesion of a lot of similar elements. The design system emerges when you glance at it. And so we have a really nice, well-rounded portfolio now that we've added the smoothie and the pudding on top of our applesauce, fruit and veg, and the yogurt. And all of these have come because of so much collaboration, so many good ideas being heard and explored, lots of testing, and just lots of trust in each other. And last but not least, I wanted to share my favorite collaboration of 2020. So shout out to Kristen and to Matthew, but this is a Target exclusive dino pack, creative directed by my 3-year-old son, obviously while we were home all last year. But this was a super fun collaboration that just shows when you think outside the box and get a little weird, you can end up with something super, super fun. So if you shop at Target, you might be able to find this one. And that's all I got. So thank you, and hit me up in the live chat, or if you want, I'm at Raven Kara on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, all the things. But I'll throw it back to you, Kim.
That was amazing. Thank you so much. That was awesome. Is the Target package still live? Because I have a 3.5-year-old, and we're very locked into the dinos of all sense. So I didn't know if you still have that at Target shelves. We'll have to grab a few packs.
Honestly, it's very close to selling out, but it should still be there.
I'm not surprised. Great.
Yeah.
That's so exciting. I also love all of your tips were awesome, and especially the slide. I think the more times you say it's fine in any statement means it's actually the opposite. And so if you just keep saying it's totally fine, we're fine, it's fine, we're gonna get through this, it's fine, it's not fine.
Right.
I just thought that was great. But thank you so much. And I do want to bring back up the McMenamins team, Kat and Kelly, if you guys want to pop up, and then Raven, if you can, I guess, take down the screen so we can chat.
Okay.
Awesome, there we go. And I also think that because Go-Go Squeeze has an actual partnership with Disney, and McMenamins is the adult Disney. There definitely is an alignment here. There's kids applesauce and fun things, and adults win a trip to McMenamins. So I don't know, I'm putting that, I think that would be a really nice collab there.
If we can put beer in some sort of squeezy pouch, then I think that would.
Yes, yes. They're honestly frozen, non-shelf stable.
Yeah.
There is, I think, let's take another hour. I'll get the whiteboard. We'll all come back.
Yeah, we got it.
No, thank you guys, both of you. Such great sessions, and I feel like even though very diverse in terms of like hospitality and packaging, a lot of just similarities and likenesses, which I think is always a good reminder of how even though distinct markets, how there are so many commonalities. But yeah, I think I'd love to for the McMenamins group, you guys the first time we're experimenting with anything virtual and doing something live. I'd love to hear a little bit more. I mean, there's so much coordination, artists and agents, and then your team internally, and then doing it virtually. What will have some staying power into second half and beyond. I love the shout out about someone viewing from Japan. That probably never happened prior to this, and how cool. So I'd love to just hear a little bit more of what you guys are going to lean into and maybe have continue.
Want to go, Kelly?
Yeah, I was just gonna say, there are so many different restrictions that you don't think about outside of the scenes when you just purchase a ticket and you want to go see the band. There's a lot of behind the scenes talking, like you said, with agents and bookers and bands and managers and just everything that happened. So previously, before COVID, we would have to jump through a lot of hoops to do anything virtual or online, but we do hope going forward that they'll be a little more open to it, bands specifically, whether it's like a meetup before their show, and maybe we do a live stream asking them a couple questions, or if they're open to a couple of their songs being live streamed in the beginning, or what that looks like. Because beforehand, unless you had bought a ticket and went to the show, you weren't seeing that online. So it'll definitely be interesting moving forward and seeing what people are open to. And I'm excited for that.
Maybe a little gated content in some way or something cool. I think that'd be really special to continue.
I think that direct connection has become really normalized, and it'll be interesting to see if that holds for the bands as well, if they want to continue that. Because a lot of times we are just relegated to shooting 3 songs in the pit, and then we're out. So hopefully we'll have that intimacy.
Yeah, that they'll lean into that a little bit more. Yeah, that's awesome. And then Raven, the last kind of SKUs that you showed, I know that you have from toddlers to tweens and teens, and so that's such a diverse demographic. I'd love to just hear a little bit more about how you guys ideate or where you look to have your focuses, and as you think of like the next iteration of puddings, like what does that look like, or is it a challenge, or maybe it's easier than I think, but it's so diverse, it seems like there's a lot of land grab that could happen there.
Yeah, it's very interesting. There's so much data to pour over in the food and bev industry about upcoming trends. I know there was Expo West recently, which a lot of information came out of about food trends. So we try to be ahead of the curve and keep an eye on things that are coming in the next few years. Like imagine banana bread in 2020, like what's the next banana bread? We try to stay ahead of that. And so we think of kids products and parents' needs for their kids' nutrition. We just really try to listen closely to what conversations are happening on social and just overall with food trends and any sort of data that's being pulled together about what parents are looking for their children. And then we try to solve those needs and show up for them. The goal is always to make it a little easier to have kids have nutritious snack options. but tasty and things that they'll actually eat and look fun and playful. So yeah, we have exciting things in the works in terms of innovation. It'll be probably easier this year than last year to launch and collaborate, but exciting nonetheless. And maybe next year we can be showing you what we're secretly working on right now.
Yeah, that would be great. Well, I know that there's a lot of comments about the flavors that people would be interested in. So they all sound delicious to me. And I love that smoothie. I didn't even know that was an offering for you guys, so I'll have to check that out. But it's nice to, I think the one thing that you shared too at the last, I think it was like closing, is to have that cohesive brand story and be true to the brand. So like you said, being that go-to for a mom, nutrition, shelf stable. And I think to bring that to like the McMenamins team, music is your core. So I think that likely was really the main kind of genesis of the dance on air, right? Because that was like core, like your core values too. So there's like such a nice connection there. I did have a question about the sourcing of the venues. How do you guys look to do that, and are there any, I mean, of 52 locations, are there any next ups, or are the McMenamins family done? Are we going to see more, or?
I think people are always sending them ideas and leads. I know me personally, when I started working there, friends started sending me leads on properties to send to the McMenamins brothers. So I'm sure that happens for every employee in the company. And yeah, so they have their scouts, and I'm sure they're not done. I think there's a couple properties that there are wonderful plans in the works for what they're going to do with even Edgefield and the jail. So yeah.
Very, very cool. And I'm sure that's also probably a really fun project to watch develop too socially. I'm sure, Kelly, getting the like progression of just cool, I don't know, performing in a jail or having the Grateful Dead having a live recording is just it's just so awesome. That's very cool.
Yeah, we're able to start our socials so early on for different locations, because just the process, walking people through the history of the location, and then the McMenamins brothers have such amazing visions and very unique to each location. It's really cool to bring people along the journey, even like 2 years in advance. We have so much content already, and then by the time it's opening, there's just such this excitement, and there's grand openings. We have 3 hotel locations that used to be like elementary schools and are now hotel rooms, and the cafeteria is now a restaurant. And and you can just hold your beer and walk through the hallways. There's a detention room that's now like whiskey and all that stuff. So they do some really awesome things. They spend a lot of time curating these locations, and yeah, I mean, just so much in terms of content and creativity and keeping it organized.
I love that. Yeah, I think it's nice to have an endless supply of things to talk about, but then also have access to that, so you don't get overwhelmed and waste your day. As Kat said, maybe I should be doing things other than just finding something. That would probably be a better use of everyone's time.
It's been a game changer.
Yeah. Well, I just wanted to thank both the McMenamins team and GoGo Squeeze Raven. It was such a great share from you both. A lot of awesome learnings. Really, I learned a lot about both of your brands, and I think both of you should be really proud of the work that you and your teams have done. And I know we'll continue to, regardless of working in our bedrooms or in an actual office. I think you guys have proven that it doesn't really matter. It'll be really great what you produce and get out into the market. So it was really nice meeting you and chatting today.
Yeah, thank you for having us.